Autism is a mental condition determined in early childhood distinguished by abnormal communication and social skills. Brains of autistic children are different than those of non-autistic children. The three mainly affected parts are the corpus callosum, amygdala, and the cerebellum. All brains are wired specifically to process and transmit information. Autism is when the brain is wired differently, resulting in irregular communications between brain cells. Autistic children have too many nerve fibers and they don't function correctly, leading to miscommunication between various parts of the brain. Because of all this extra and incorrect wiring in their brains, autistic children tend to develop a larger than usual brain. Another effect autism has on the brain is an imbalance in neurotransmitters. A neurotransmitter is a chemical that helps nerve cells communicate with each other. One of the neurotransmitters that is affected is serotonin. Serotonin is involved in the transmission of nerve impulses and with emotion and behavior. Another neurotransmitter that is affected is glutamate, which controls signals sent between nerve cells and is involved in learning and memory. These irregular balances together can cause uncommon social behavior or autistic behavior. Autistic brains are bigger because they develop differently due to the abnormal wiring. According to a study by Dr. Martha Herbert, autistic brains are expanded in different parts, which means they are unproportional to normal brains. The most expanded part of the brain is white matter. White matter is a section of the brain that has millions of nerve fibers that control communication from one section of the brain to another. White matter fills nearly half the brain and connects different parts of the brain and is very involved in communication. Within the white matter, different parts are expanded unequally. The most expanded part of the white matter is the section that transfers information between close parts of the brain on the same side. Another very expanded part of the brain in autistic children is the frontal lobe. This is important because the frontal lobe is connected to all the other parts of the brain and is in control of communicating information throughout the whole brain. Since this area of the brain in autistic people is different than in non-autistic people, it clarifies why autistic people often have the abnormal behavior. Certain parts of their brain aren't able to communicate correctly to the other parts of the brain. Scientists are currently trying to determine the cause of autism. There is a genetic factor to autism because it tends to run in families. This is a picture of several different genes that affect autism. One difference in the genes of autistic children and their parents is autistic children may be missing a large chunk of DNA or that DNA could be duplicating. Scientists are still trying to narrow down the genes that play the biggest role in autism. Currently, 20 out of 23 chromosomes could be linked to autism. Also, multiple genes play a role in autism, not just one. In this picture, the red section shows genes that were recently discovered to be disrupted in autistic people. These are just a few of the genes that are different in autistic people. This is what makes it so hard to find out what is really causing the problem. Even though scientists don't know how to prevent autism, there are many programs in our country that help autistic children with behavior care, social skills, communication, language, and they include therapeutic activities. Overall, autism is a mental condition that many people live with and is still being discovered and explored today.